Next question from Abby. Following your recommendation of the Enneagram panel videos by Beatrice Chestnut, I'm now realizing that I may be a type 2 with 1 wing, not type 1 with 2 wing. What next steps can I take in my Enneagram journey? What was your experience of healing as a type 2? How long have you got? Because truly, and every type has their own challenges and trials and tribulations. So answering the second part of your question, which is what your experience on the healing as type 2, you know what? That's almost like a full day's workshop in and of itself. What next steps you can take in your Enneagram journey when you've kind of thought that you're one type and then you find out that you're another? Just my first initial reaction to that is make sure that you embrace who you are becoming or who you're now identifying with, as well as what led you there, which is the misdiagnosis. So by that, what I mean is that you wouldn't now be in this space of understanding that you are a certain type if you hadn't tried on this other hat. So if you can try and feel some gratitude towards, the type that you resonated with previously, and try to also kind of see this as a positive, like going forward moment, as opposed to, I spent so much time thinking I'm a 1 and I'm a 2. So that's really for me the next step in this. You probably already feel quite a lot of kind of validation for realizing that this is actually your type. So it's quite possible that you are already feeling pretty good about it, which is good. So the next steps after that, when you kind of recognize that there's nothing wrong with what's happening right now in this transition, and you haven't wasted this time and so on, is really to start looking at the type 2 in depth in terms of there are 3 different options for what Beatrice Chestnut talks about. There's like a self-preservation type 2, there's a social type 2, and there's a one-to-one or sexual subtype type 2. So start looking into the subtypes and start recognizing which one of those might resonate with you most. Are you mostly about self-preservation? Are you mostly about being social with everyone? Are you mostly about the kind of the one-to-one space? And then start like really accepting yourself and those parts of you. So for example, if you're self-preservation, understand that your willingness or your drive to self-preserve, all those fears that are coming to you, they serve a purpose. They prepare you for life. Sometimes things are tough and you're going to be more prepared because of that. So there is really own that side of you and really feel like, there's a value to this. So appreciate and value the subtype of your type 2-ness in this case. If you are a social subtype, then look at how, your social orientation can really help people feel like they belong, a sense of community. What can you do with that? How can you harness that? And really, how can you appreciate that part of you? And if you're a sexual subtype or a one-to-one subtype then understand that you are obsessive and that's actually a gift, because your obsession allows you to go deeper into topics that most people never do. And also it allows you to become a specialist in all different kinds of areas in life. Now, for example, I'm a type 2 subtype, one-to-one or sexual. And what that's meant for me is that I get obsessed with something and I will continue to study it until I feel like I understand everything about it. And then what happens is I study something else and do exactly the same thing, study something else, do exactly the same thing, study something else. And now all of a sudden these 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 or 11 or 25 different things that I've studied in depth, I begin to see patterns on how everything relates to everything else, which then gives me a whole new level of understanding and appreciation of how the world actually works. So it takes you away from a lot of kind of black and white, or delving into each one of these subtypes and seeing, which one you might be resonating with most, and what might be, the ones for you to work on. They'll give you a whole new depth into life and into experience as the person that you are, and you really learn to appreciate yourself on a deeper, more meaningful level. So you start to understand what is it that you're bringing to the world, and so on. So I hope that helps with that. Any other type 2s here on the Enneagram? Put your hand up. Would love to hear from you. Aaron said, I'm an INFP type 9, and that was very helpful, the previous question. That's fantastic, Aaron. That's just awesome, because, it's so important that we get that feedback, that the work that we're doing is actually helping you guys. Because if it doesn't help, what are we doing? Where are we wasting our time? So any other type 2s who can relate to this, put your hand up. Would love to hear from you.